Oh man, what a weird game. I mean, the Packers were favored by 13.5 points. I thought it would be a two-score game. You know, they're in Green Bay, not that there's fans or anything, but yeah, only won 24-20. But it is a win. I shouldn't say only. It's still a win, and the Packers moved to 7-2. What's going on, everyone? Baz here. So like I said, Packers got the dub on Sunday against the one-win Jaguars with Jake Luton starting at quarterback. I totally expected the Packers to blow them out. You know, I've seen them blow out other teams that are better than Jaguars, but it was a cold, rainy day in Green Bay, which generally you would think would favor the Packers in that situation over a Florida team. But hey, just a sloppy game all around. Packers, you know, didn't have the lead the whole game. It was the first time they didn't score on an opening drive, and they were the last team to have that stat for this year. So now no team has scored on every first drive of every game. So that's over. Just overall, I think the offense just started flat. A lot of the short crossing routes that they love to do, the schematic short crossers and pick plays, didn't seem to work too much. And it seemed the Packers actually got going by throwing the ball intermediate to deep. I think this was because safeties of Jacksonville were actually jumping and shooting on these under routes and these crossers, and they were doing a pretty damn good job at it. What I noticed with Jacksonville, they're just a very physical team, which this time and time again comes to seem to hurt the Packers, that physical teams with physical linebackers and physical safeties give the Packers issues. You know, they did play really, really hard, which, you know, I give credit for that. Jacksonville's defense did play really hard. But obviously the Packers still were able to score 24 and win the game. So MVS had another pretty damn good game, 4 for 149 and a touchdown. It seems like his good games are high amounts of yards, low amounts of receptions, usually like 2, 3, 4 receptions, couple touchdowns. You know, usually most of his yards come from a 78-yard play, like what happened Sunday. He had single coverage, safety shaded all the way over to Devontae's side, which is what they should be doing, and that's what you need to capitalize with a guy like MVS or Allen Lazard. Hopefully MVS can continue this hot streak. He's playing pretty damn well. He's about at the mark where he was last year when he got hurt and then fell off in terms of yardage, receptions, touchdowns, all that sort of thing. So hopefully he can just keep it up. Obviously, like I said, Allen Lazard's going to be back, so that's going to take some of his volume away. But still, I'm liking what I'm seeing from MVS. He's finally seeming to put most of it together. Devontae had a pretty average day, 8 for 66 and a touchdown. He left briefly in the third quarter, I believe, with an ankle injury and came back, so that's definitely something to monitor. Good thing he did come back in. Shows it wasn't too serious, but you never know how that ankle will start feeling later in the week, so we'll have to see what happens and what it looks like on the practice report. Aaron Jones didn't really impress me this game. Only ran 13 for 46 in terms of the running game. In receiving, he had 5 for 49, so a lot better in the receiving game. But running, it just seemed like he was gaining maybe a yard or two each carry, nothing great. He did have a nice toss play out to the right side that gained a decent amount of yards, but that's about it. Jamal, same thing, kind of gaining 2-3 yards a carry, nothing great. I think they were both under or right around 3 yards per carry. As a whole for the Green Bay running offense, so nothing great there. You know, you expect more from Aaron Jones, especially on a contract year against a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, not a terrible defense, but you'd expect more of a running game there in a rainy and a cold day like it was on Sunday. So Aaron Rodgers had a pretty good day. Did throw another interception. He finished 24 for 34, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, that interception, and then also a rushing touchdown. On the interception, I just want to talk about that real quick. Seemed like he wanted MVS on a crosser, really bad underthrow, way behind him, and just, you know, it was an easy interception for the defender there. So moving on to the flip side of the ball, the defense, which had a pretty good game. I'm going to put an asterisk next to that because it is Jake Luton. Dude's only had one other start and really missed a lot of throws, dude. He didn't look good. And, you know, I don't want to discredit the Packers defense, but I also don't want to give it a ton of credit for, you know, beating up on a Jake Luton. What did worry me, again, was James Robinson, running back, having his day. He had 4.7 per carry for over 100 yards. Dude just seemed to be able to run wherever he wanted. Very, very underrated back, you know, undrafted this year, came right into the Jacksonville team, and, you know, once Leonard Fournette was traded and took over that role, so credit is due to him. I think he's going to be a very good running back for the years to come. Kenny Clark had a very good game, probably one of his best games since probably around 2018-ish, 2019. Very excited to see him, come back from that injury and start to dominate again. Adrian Amos got an interception. If you know me, I kind of been talking shit on Adrian Amos, but rightfully so. Hasn't had a great start to the year. Hopefully he keeps it going. I know it was Tyler Eifert slipped and it pretty much gave Amos that wide open interception, but he was in the right place at the right time. I'm really hoping Amos can start to return to the form of last year, because the first half of this year he wasn't near that. Rashawn Gary looked good on his power rushes. It seems like his speed rushes are needs some fine tuning. When he was speed rushing, he was looping around the quarterback a lot, didn't seem to get home, but on his power ones he was getting there. I think he finished with a sack. Preston Smith still isn't really, he still looks lazy out there to me. I know he did have a sack, and last week he forced an interception. But that's just one play out of how many he takes on the defensive side. He does still look a little lazy to me, seems unenthusiastic, and I just think he does feed off the crowd so much, and when there's no crowd, and I know that's no excuse, but hopefully he can start returning to last year's form as well, just like Amos, or sadly this probably is his last year in Green Bay. So as we know, Jair Alexander was out, so the cornerback situation was very thin with Kevin King also being out. That basically meant Josh Jackson and Chandon Sullivan are the starting outside corners, and then filling in was Kadar Holman. They activated Stanford Samuels and some other guys, Kavari Russell, an old guy from Notre Dame. Kadar Holman filled in really nice. I think he had 4 receptions on him, which is a decent bit, but for coming in, basically having no meaningful snaps, he has been playing good the past few weeks with Kevin King being out. Speaking of Kevin King being out, Josh Jackson still putting together a hell of a year for someone coming in who never really got starting snaps and was on a make or break year in my opinion. So it's seeming to become more of a Josh Jackson show for the Green Bay Packers cornerback number 2. I think this is showing that the Packers may not need to re-sign Kevin King, and I've been saying how if Kevin King got hurt again like he did, he's not probably going to be re-signed, and if it is, it's going to be for a really cheap deal because he got hurt, and it's going to be team-friendly, like a prove-it deal, like, hey, you need to play a full season, or else no one's going to pay you long-term, and I think that's what's going to happen. But right now, I think Josh Jackson is shaping up to be the cornerback 2 of the future alongside Jair Alexander. And then obviously Chandon Sullivan, the nickel corner there. Josh Jackson only allowed 2 receptions for 28 yards. Just all around played a decent game. Usually years past, it was said that speed would beat Josh Jackson, but he was showing, that's not too much of an issue for him now. He kept up with guys like Chris Conley and likes of those guys. So this game was a good game for him and the future for Josh Jackson and the Packers defense. Moving on to the final part of injuries, only a couple here that I had noted. Tyler Ervin went out and didn't return with rib injuries. Very big injury, I think, because Tyler Ervin, it means a lot to the Packers special teams and their gadget plays. Josh Jackson came in to return punts, which he's not that good at. I think he was just their emergency punt return guy, so they might need to sign a guy if Irvin's out for an extended period of time to return punts and kicks. And then also, like I said earlier, Javonte Adams left with an ankle injury but came back, but also something to definitely monitor over the week coming up into the Indianapolis Colts game. So that'll about do it. So the Packers are 7-2, looking forward to the game in Indianapolis against the Colts. I think it's going to be a really good game. Colts are a good team. Phillip Rivers, veteran. Jonathan Taylor hasn't been doing too well, but they have a stacked running back room. Defense is playing well. I'm looking forward to watching this game. So on that note, catch you guys in the next one. Go Pack, go.